Yours. Hit that one more time. I am the number one determinant of the success or failure. Here we go. Of my students. Hey, y'all, you have a strong summer. Kick some butt next year. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's the mindset. That's the attitude. Love you guys.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see that we had some names in here before I even went live. Man, that excites me. That means people are hungry, so I appreciate that. Ricardo Giannis and Grace Castaneda, Renee Graham, Janine Wilkins. That's probably Separano Wilkins, Demetrius Scott, Jennifer Bortvit Mapes. They're all in the building. Garfar WT, Gene Lee. Hit the share button. Let them know we're here. Lakeisha Mabry, Michael Benton. Big game, Mike. You know, I've never been a Bengals fan in my life. But for some reason, I've gravitated to this team. And I'm with them. I'm down with them, man. I'm ready. So, you know, I'm looking forward to a Bengals victory today. Terrell Brooks is in the building. Dr. Roz Gaskins, Principal Dot McKeever Jeter, LaShonda West, Cindy Jones, Sabrina Preston. They're all in the building. The building's big enough to fit us all. We got I'm gonna mess this up. Enorb Ronem in the building. Tranisha Gilbert, Marcus Morris is in the building. Good morning to you. Lysandra Brackens, Lisa Krause Richardson, they're all here. We got Vanessa Olive, Scott Wiley, Crystal Wright, Rick's in the building. We got Delta Girls, 17 Gmail, Vanessa Zeskin. Anybody out there from the conference I spoke at yesterday out there in Hilton Head? Are you here today? Anybody out there at the conference, the school counselors conference in Hilton Head, South Carolina yesterday? Man, we had a good time, man. We had a good time. Champion Principal is in the building. Central Hicks, Sheikah Houston, Dr. Sheikah Houston is in the building. Dina Freeman, where we at here? Kareen Paul, PhD. Alexia Irvin, the queen. Kimberly Broughton Kafele, that's my wife. She's in the building. Denise Yates West, the hero. I know I messed that up. Indaye, I'm trying. Tammy Bell is in the building. My man Lewis Saunders in the building. Principal Tammy Taylor in the building. Rodney Richardson, my man. Principal Josh Tovar is in the building. Rashard Davis bringing the heat from Vegas. I'll be in Vegas, Rashard, on what's that date? It's like the first week in February. I'll be out there in Vegas at one of them hotels. Aisha Santos, Dion Klingman, Holly Buford Bryant's in the building. Stephen Wilson is in the building. I'm getting ready to get it rocking, y'all. Deidre Shaw Brown, hit the retweet button, hit the share button. Let them know we're here. A lot of folks like to watch us on social media, you know, YouTube and the recordings and that type of thing, because, you know, Saturday at 11 o'clock may not always be convenient. And I encourage that, but I always want to say, but you can't get the same heat from the video. You can't get the same fire from the video. You know, see, when it's live, it's just different, man. Sometimes I don't even like watching videos of anybody because I want to hear them live and in person and get that fire that they put out there. We got, I'm almost getting there though. Carla Beat, Cassie Hayes is in the building. Yeah, Josh Tovar said, check out episode 70. That's his. I did something crazy that day with my hands in it, or either I don't know what happened, but it disconnected and we had to start over, so it broke it up into 2 segments. But he still hit that 1,000 views. You know, it's just that it's broken up into 2. Anna Banks is in the building. Good to see you, Anna Banks. I never saw you on this platform before. Good to see you. Good to see you. You know, folks, I see what time it is. I got a big time guest in the building, so I don't want to waste any time. We got a lot going on today. I got my guest, and then I got a presentation with some new teachers in California at 1:30. So I think I better get going. So let me say to you formally now, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 91. Woo! Let me say that again, man. That's a long time for something that was only planned for 18 weeks. Welcome to week 91 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And I don't know about you. I think I know. I mean, you guys tuned in live. So I think I know. But, I only know definitively about myself. So I just want you to know, because I need you to understand this. I need you to feel this. I'm on fire. I just need you to know that on Saturday mornings, man. I flew down to Savannah, Georgia, then had to drive the hour to Hilton Head Thursday night, but the flight delay was 3 hours. So I'm like, I'm on social media complaining. That's what I do. Speaker life stuff, million mile man stuff. I'm over 1 million miles, right, with United. So then I did the keynote yesterday, did the breakout session, ready for my 6 o'clock flight home, whatever it was. Man, that thing was delayed 3 hours again. I flew into Newark like midnight. Got here, went over my notes, got a little sleep. And despite all that, I'm on fire. Woo! Yo, nothing's going to extinguish that. Nothing. I'm going to have the flames because I got people on here this morning. We talking leadership this morning. I chose leadership. Nobody made me go into leadership. I chose it just like you. So despite whatever's going on in the world, including a bloody pandemic, we still got to maintain the flame. You understand that? So let me go to my quick motivational message on this 22nd day of January. It's called, Will You Assess Last Week Before Monday Morning? Let me get that to you again. Will you assess last week before Monday morning? Here's what I'm saying to you. Let me talk fast because I'm ready to bring up the guests. Last week was last week. Your evaluator of record may not evaluate you on last week. That would be more cumulative. Your evaluator of record may not know much about your performance last week, but you do. And I'm asking you, are you going to assess it? Are you going to just carve out some time today, tomorrow? Maybe you did it already this morning. Maybe you did it last night. Whatever the case may be, will you carve out some time, some quiet time, some lonely time, some alone time, and just assess your performance? Evaluate your performance from last week. Have your, man, I need a pen. Here's one. Have your pen, have your pad. I don't have my pad in front of me, so have your paper or your device or whatever. I do have this, though. I got this. Y'all know I ain't going nowhere without this. This was on the podium at Hilton Head yesterday. See, it goes with me. So you write down, just list it out. Do you remember the blueprint I gave you a few weeks ago? So you write it out. How was I? Right? and then be honest with yourself. Don't fake the funk, man. Bootsy said if you fake the funk, your nose got to grow, man. You walking around with that long nose, they know you faking the funk, man. I listened to Parliament Funkadelic too when I was on the plane. I don't know why I got into this P-Funk groove, man. And it was just George Clinton like all the way home, man. You know, so I got that in me. So make sure. Somebody said, who George Clinton? What this dude talking about, man? You got Google it, man. Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins, the Pinocchio theory. And then check out Sir Nose devoid of funk while you at it. They say, man, where yo, the old head's saying, yo, you hitting it. The young head's like, what are you talking about? Right? Google it. Right. So make sure that you assess you every week. That's what I'm saying. Assess you, evaluate you. Don't go back into that school Monday and you didn't reflect back on your performance last week. Let's go. I got these quick announcements. Welcome to the first timers. First, some of the young first timers like, man, I don't know what he ain't like he was like at the keynote. This a little different. Yeah, I ain't working for the client today. I'm working for Principal Kafele. I can just keep it like myself real, right? So welcome to the first timers. Don't let this be your last time. You make sure you keep coming back. This is week 91. I'll be in week 191 one day. We want you still here. Even once you go on to become a principal or even a superintendent, we still relevant, right? School Talk, that's my new platform. I was supposed to come on Thursday, January 27. I'm scheduled to with Zaretta Hammond, but I'm trying to convince her. I haven't heard back from her yet. We need to move that to February 3rd because that finale of Women of the Movement is on the 27th, and I know people want to see that. Mamie Till Mobley along with Emmett Till. So and I hope you all have been watching that, right? I put on Facebook, here's an assignment. Facebook and Twitter, here's an assignment. Watch this, right? This was last Thursday while I was sitting in the airport. Watch Women of the Movement. That's important American history. Notice I said American history. That's important American history. History that's not typically in the textbook, but needs to be. But if it's not there, we'll still obtain the information regardless. So I'll let you know if I hear from her before we're finished today, if we're confirmed for February 3rd. Sunday morning commentary, make sure that you read the commentary on Virtual AP Leadership Academy on Facebook every Sunday, which is an extension of the Saturday Academy. Right? There you go, Stallings. Make my funk the P-Funk. That's right. I wants to get funked up. Let me stop. I was getting ready to sing the whole bar. Make my funk the P-Funk. I want my funk uncut. I want the bomb. Let me stop. Let's go. So, I'm rocking the Indianapolis ABCs. No number on the back. This is an old team. So this before they were putting numbers on the jerseys, right? And then the books, real quick. Make sure you get your hands on the 2, the Assistant Principal 50, the Equity and Social Justice Education 50. I got like 6 other books I wrote sitting down there, but these are the 2 newest ones. Get yourself, just go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Assistant Principal 50, Equity and Social Justice Education 50. And this one is subtitled Critical Questions for Improving Opportunities and Outcomes for Black Students. This is very specific as it relates to Black students, this one. Right, so get them both, and I'll get back to really coming out of those books in time. Right now, I got just so many guests on here. I got some. I see you, Albert. I see you. Yeah, we got the Assistant Commissioner of Education in New York on here right now. Right, Assistant Commissioner of Education. My man, Dr. Aniel Austin, is in the building. We got he will be on this platform. I just haven't sent him the invite yet, right? But he'll be here. We got some powerhouse people that come on here. So let's go, y'all. I'm ready. Hit that share button, hit that retweet button. Let me pull up my guest. and so you could see my man, Coach Carlos is in the building. How you doing this morning?
Oh man, brother, you got me fun, man. You got me fired up. You went back to P Funk. Oh my
man.
goodness, man. You got me fired up now, dog. That's my generation. You
I
talking
want my
about
phone uncut.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's in my veins forever. If we got any Jersey heads in here,
Yeah.
two things I got in my veins, man. I got P Funk in my veins, and I got Club Zanzibar. So if it's any Jersey people, Club Zanzibar. It's I ain't been there. They ripped it down. It doesn't exist anymore. But I stopped going there in '84 when my views of the world started shifting. But that environment is still in my system. If there's any Jersey folks in the building that know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
so we got Coach Carlos in the building, and let me read his bio to you very quickly, folks, and we're gonna dive in. Carlos Johnson, also known as Coach Carlos, is a professional speaker, trainer, author, and educator. Coach Carlos and his team of consultants have utilized his experience in research and school culture to successfully turn around 3 failing public schools and 1 private Christian academy. His trainings and strategies help to change school culture, increase parental engagement, student enrollment, and student retention. His driving belief is after 20 years of research, all evidence confirms that a highly engaged school culture is the mother of high performance. I want to read that again. He said, after 20 years of research, all evidence confirms that a highly engaged school culture is the mother of high performance. The research and results from this philosophy led him to create his systematic approach to revolutionizing school culture by teaching districts how to institutionalize teacher-student engagement, a system he calls Power Engage. In addition to working with district leaders and instructional teams, Mr. Johnson's online parent training, powerengage.net, write that down, powerengage.net, trains hundreds of parents and instructional teams each year on the psychology and practice of teacher-student engagement. In response to the national school-to-prison pipeline crisis for young men, in 2015, Coach Johnson stepped into the principalship position to lead the Male Leadership Academy. Utilizing his research and experience in stakeholder engagement, he doubled school enrollment, transformed school culture, and increased student performance school-wide in just 3 short years. To support other schools with enrollment and performance, he launched the online life skills leadership course for boys called Future Man Success Prep. And finally, Coach Carlos' purpose to transform institutions and individuals is obvious, and when he speaks or trains, his passion is infectious. I present to all of you, introduce to some, present to others, Coach Carlos Johnson in the building.
Hey, Doc, glad to be here with you this morning, man. You got me fired up. You could have left me in the back room, but you just had me going. I could have kept listening to all what you've done, man. From 18 weeks to 91 weeks. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, man. And haven't missed a beat. Sometimes I'm on the road on Saturday. I tell the client, look, I'm gonna be there. But I can't speak in this block of time.
There you go.
One of them's like, we need you in that block. How can we make this work? I said, well, let me do the Saturday Academy with a live audience, your audience.
There you go.
With their audience watching.
Yeah, Doc.
I don't play with this thing, man.
Yes, sir, man. It's proven to work. We want it, man. Folk want it. I look forward to it every single week. You talk about you got Dr. Sheik on here, Principal Tammy. You got Brother Rashad on here. You got Holly on here. All those folk, man. I mean, you got some heavy hitters tuning in. You can't miss. We're looking for you to show up.
I appreciate that. Let's jump into it. Hey, Coach Carlos, as an educator, who is Coach Carlos?
I jumped into this thing in an unorthodox way. My goal was just really to jump in and roll my sleeves up and help. And I got into something that's just continued to drive me for 20 years, and that is transforming school culture. So at the end of the day, I walk into the building seeing how can I transform this culture.
I hear that, transforming the culture. And you know that word transform. You know, when I think about it, I think about just this complete shift, this complete
Yeah.
change. So when you talk about the culture, the way we're living in the building, and a need to just completely shift it, you know,
Yeah.
beyond just altering it, but
That's right.
shifting it into
That's right.
something else.
That's right.
So what made you enter the field of education then, and what continues to drive your passion for this work?
Yeah, yeah. And again, I bumped into it. I don't think anybody on this call would have gotten an education the way I did. I was an engineer working for IBM, and IBM sent me into New York to sell computers and to work on a marketing team. And I fell in love with working with students in that way. Uh, that was before No Child Left Behind. I end up going into the classroom teaching. That was before you had to be certified, highly qualified, and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
Then No Child Left Behind came along, pushed me out. I wrote a curriculum and we began managing schools from there. And that's why in my bio, it shows me that I've turned around 3 schools, but it's unorthodox. I come at it from a different angle, a different thought. Not that it's better than anybody else, but I look at education from a different prism, if you will, a different perspective. I look at it as a business. I look at it as a vehicle for transforming communities and indeed this country. So I approach education in a totally different way. My passion is, and it has not wavered in 2 decades, and that is to create an educational tide that will lift all people in my community. And that has not changed. And
Love it.
transforming school culture is the way I want to do it.
So you know, and I want the audience to hear just to piggyback on that. You said you haven't changed. It hasn't changed. This is who you are.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's, and I talk about it all the time on this platform. And when I'm on the road of having that very narrow focus, it doesn't mean that we don't know what's happening out there,
That's right.
up there, back there, up there, and all that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
that focus
Yeah.
is so narrow, which allows us to be phenomenal
That's
at
right.
what we do because the focus is so narrow.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm saying to somebody out there in the building, I see you, Lisa Davis, out there. Welcome. I'm saying to you that to the folks watching, just piggybacking off of Coach Carlos, you know, yeah, we can keep up with all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As it comes to your leadership, there's got to be some areas where you are really focused on being the best version of yourself.
That's right.
So Coach, when you consider all the reasons that you wanted to become a school leader, and you know there's probably just infinite number of reasons as to why. For me, it was an infinite number probably, but
Yeah.
my question is, what is that one that
Yeah.
kind of superseded all others that said, but this reason I got to leave?
Wow. Wow. And it's deeper than we can cover in this time, but I'll say it was an evolution. But it finally got to the first of all, it started with it's got to be a better way. My reason started with there's got to be a better way. That's what it started with. When I got in there, my reason has evolved from there to it's got to be me. It's got to be a better way. Then it evolved to it's got to be me. Then after it went from it's got to be me, then I found out this is how I personally can contribute to what's already been done. So my reason is still it's got to be a better way to lift our people. But what has added to that is I can't sit back and point my fingers at Principal Kafele. I can't sit back and point my fingers at any other leader. It's got to be me to help education be better. That's my passion from the beginning, and it still is. There's got to be a better way, and I'm rolling up my sleeves to help and to add what I can to the fight.
You know, I love that because I'm the same way with my work. You know, it's like I know it's people out here getting it done. I know there are people who are getting it done at a higher level than I am. You know, I can understand that and I can live with that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from me saying, but I have a part to play.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I say I mean I.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah.
There's something I have to do.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody out there on this call right now, someone who will see the video later, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, have you reached a point in your journey that you realize that I'm
Yeah.
talking to you, somebody, that
Yeah.
you must do this work. This
Yeah.
is not like there's something about the work you do that nobody else can do it quite like you.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
And you can't shy away from that. That's not egotistical. That's just knowing your wealth, knowing your value, that I have something to contribute to young people, to staff, to the community, to parents, etc.
Yeah.
Gotta own that. And that's what Coach Carlos is talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll add this principle that I'll never forget the day that I truly answered my call. I was in church, Dr. Fredericks was preaching, and he talked about leaving the 99 and going to save the one. And some of you all out there know what I'm talking about. That scripture that talks about leaving the 99 and going to get the one. I stood up when he began talking, and I could not sit down for the rest of the sermon because he was talking to me.
Yeah.
He was talking to me. Go get that one. So you asked me why I do it. I had to go get that one. I had to go save that one.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. You know, as we're in the midst of a pandemic, various places I go, sometimes the people, it don't seem like they realize that, but that's for another time. But we're in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And there are folks in leadership, the classroom as well, but I want to focus on leadership since that's what this forum is.
Yeah.
There are folks in leadership that are beyond exhausted, beyond overworked. And my question to you is, what advice, because some of them may be on this call now or will see the video later, what advice do you have for that person that saying, amen, yes, that's me, I feel overly exhausted, overly overworked? What is your advice to them in terms of striking a balance between the work life, their personal life, so that they can maintain their own mental health and just a sense of well-being within themselves?
Yeah, that's a good question. Great question. Two things. The serenity prayer is not just for alcoholics. It's just not recovering addicts. It's for everybody. Give me. That serenity prayer is key. When you're talking about peace, you're talking about wisdom, and you're talking about courage. I love the end of that prayer when it says, give me the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
There are some things we need to go head on into attack. And then there are other things we need to realize I can't do that. That's out of my scope. That's out of my capacity. And having the wisdom to know the difference. Find that sweet spot where you can be effective. Yeah. And that gets back to that having that narrow focus. There's only 6 hours in the day, 8 hours in the day at school. You can't save the world in 8 hours. You can't save it in 8 hours. So that serenity prayer is key. The other thing I would add to that is research has shown, if you study stress. And there's a difference between these two terms. I hope you guys get me on this because I don't have time to totally unpack it. There's two pieces of stress. It's called eustress and distress. All stress ain't bad, everybody. All stress ain't bad. Eustress is what you want. Distress is what you don't want. Eustress it uses cortisol to motivate you. Distress is when your cortisol is operating in a negative way. And I'll end it with this, but check out stress, eustress versus distress. I'll end it with this. Stress is just as contagious as a cold. There's a feedback loop in the classroom. If you walk into that classroom stressed out, your children are catching stress right from you. Your colleagues are catching stress right from you. That teacher's room that we go in there and everybody's complaining, that's contagious. Get out of there. That's COVID. Walk in there with a mask on, because stress is contagious. You want eustress. You don't want distress. What you're opening today stressed me out. That stressed me out that you went from 18 shows to 91, but not distress.
Right.
That was eustress. That pumped me up. I'm like, what am I doing? How come I don't have 91 shows? But that stressed me out. So I would say to your teachers, it's okay to be stressed. I would say to your leaders, it's okay to be stressed, but eustress, not distress.
Y'all hear that? Eustress, not distress. You know, Coach, along the same lines, there's a new AP somewhere out there. There's a new principal, something. I mean, first year. And we came into it in this season. Not only are they exhausted, but they're also frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, because in their mind, this is not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up for this. You know,
Right.
this some other stuff that college didn't prepare me for.
Yes,
So
sir.
that person is frustrated. I know this definitively because I meet these folks on the road and they whisper in my ear, I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Right.
This ain't what I thought the AP position was. This is not what I thought the principal position was. So what I want to ask of you for that discouraged, frustrated first year leader, what advice might you offer that person to hang in there?
Yeah. Best thing I can say right now is think of the Starfish story. Think of the story of the Starfish, where there's this story of this young man walking on the beach, and he sees all these miles and miles of starfish up on the beach. You all heard it. And he runs into this old man throwing one little starfish back at a time. One little starfish back at a time. And the young man says to the old man, don't you know that's crazy? You can't, there's too many starfish out here. And the old man just kicks back and he says in his old wise self, he understands the serenity prayer, and he says, yeah, I can't throw them all back, but this one right here gonna be okay. This one right here gonna be okay. So the APs out there, principals out there, just take that mindset. One day at a time, one starfish at a time. One day at a time, one starfish at a time.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Y'all hear that out there? It's important.
Yeah, Doc.
Let's go to the body. You know,
Yes,
folks that tune in with me every week, you know, I ask those same 5 questions to every guest that comes on here because you see it. Every guest has a different perspective, but yet those 5 intro questions are so relevant. So let's go to the body. Coach, in your bio, it states that in response to the national school to prison pipeline crisis, and I'm reading verbatim, for young men in 2015, Coach Mr. Johnson, you stepped into the principalship position to lead the Male Leadership Academy. So in response to that, I want to talk about the school to prison pipeline. And my question to you is, what is it? Why does it continue to persist? And what are the implications for Black boys?
Yeah, Doc. Whew. That's one show for you right there. That is one show for you.
Yeah.
And let's be real clear for those who might be listening. We say the school to prison pipeline, but I'd like to be a little bit more definite about it. It's the preschool to prison pipeline. The preschool to prison pipeline. We right now, as we are all here today, there are more preschool students. I need to pause right there for a second. They need to hit preschool students. That's 3-4 years old, principal. There are more preschool students being suspended from preschool than K-8 education put together. You all need to do the research on that one. Preschool. So we're talking, you've got kids in preschool being suspended from preschool. That's where it starts.
Wow.
Just like learning starts there with reading and those motor skills. We know early education is so valuable. It's proven. But when kids are suspended in preschool, that starts their version and vision for what school is going to be all about. You then fast forward there in elementary, and we have resource officers in elementary schools now handcuffing children and putting them in the back of squad cars. But it starts real simple with an adult who, for whatever reason, cannot manage that child's behavior. And I'm not here to point fingers at any adults. I'm just saying this is how that preschool to prison pipeline starts. There's an adult that cannot manage behavior. That behavior is then handed over to a higher authority. And then the process begins. That's where it starts.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, then we start documenting that behavior. And by the time Carlos comes into another teacher's company and my documentation has been said that I have been a behavioral problem in the kindergarten, in first grade, in second grade, now the teachers are beginning to talk. The leaders are beginning to talk. Oh, you have Carlos this year. Girl, sir, I had him last year. So now I'm already preset to be a problem in somebody's classroom. Now you've got a behavioral pattern. You've followed and supported by documentation, followed and supported by some professionals who say Carlos has these type of deficits. Before you know it, as soon as the police or the authorities get involved, you've got a pipeline.
There's a young lady. Her name is Dr. Karen Baptiste.
Yes.
And she's on the board of directors with ASCD, but she's put together this project. It's a film called Preschool to Prison Pipeline, which I'm one of the guests in this documentary whenever they're going to release it. And it's real. And a lot of times, as you said, we say school to prison, and we ignore or forget or just are ignorant of the fact that no, it starts at preschool to prison pipeline.
Yes, sir.
So as this forum, as the core audience for this forum, this Saturday Academy is the assistant principal and the aspiring assistant principal and the new principal, although it's not confined to them. Then looking at that same discussion, that lens, what are the implications of the preschool to prison pipeline for the school leader? Assistant, the principal, whomever.
Whenever I'm working with school leaders, I let them know under no uncertain terms that they are empowered and responsible for the climate and the culture of that building. For the climate and the culture, setting the tone. And let me be real clear about the distinction between climate and culture, because a lot of time we conflate those two. So the best way that I explain it is, climate is when I park my car at the school building. As soon as I pull up to the school building, I park and I walk to the school. I get out my car and I'm walking to the building. I'm starting to feel the climate of the school. Get to the door, whether I got to go to the front door or that's locked, go to another door, that's locked, go to another door, that's locked, no signage, anything. The climate is starting to be set. I walk in the building, they buzz me in, I go to the office. Depending on how I'm greeted in the office, that's the climate of the building. It's the aroma, what I smell, what I feel. The culture, on the other hand, are those practices, policies, written or unwritten, that drive my climate experience. What were the practices and policies that didn't have signs up on the door to let me know which door to go into? What were the practices and policies that allowed that office administrator to have that job and be rude to me as a parent, as a new student, who allowed that person to keep that job? What were the practices and policies that created it so that every person in that building greeted me and said, "Hi, how are you? Welcome to our school"? Who's driving that? In the interviewing process, is there something? There's a school I work with in Michigan, and the school leader's philosophy is love, laugh, learn. That's his philosophy. Love, laugh, and he drives that philosophy through every policy, through every person. If you're going to get hired, you're going to understand the philosophy of love, laugh, learn. That's supported by practices. And that sets the climate and the culture. So to your point about my leaders here, you guys got to set the culture in which a young man coming to your building, you've interrupted the preschool to prison pipeline. And I know there's a long way around there, but it starts with climate and culture. So my leaders here, you guys drive that. You set that.
Leadership drives it. So if we're not engaged at that level,
Yeah,
then it's happening under our watch.
yeah,
It's us.
yeah,
And the question
yeah,
becomes then, why do they need us?
yeah,
Right? If we chose
yeah,
leadership, and here we are in leadership, but the school to prison pipeline, the preschool to prison pipeline is happening right under our noses.
yes, sir.
Then in what way are we assets to the school?
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
before I go into this next question, hey folks, hit that share button, hit that retweet button, let them know we're here. Week 91 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy, and Coach Carlos is dropping the bombs. Let them know, tag somebody in those Facebook groups, let them know we're here. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we could talk about the flaws and deficiencies in schools relative to Black male achievement forever, because it's just a never-ending saga.
Yeah.
But predicated on your research, your study, your experience in working with Black males, what have you identified as either a significant problem or problems that require an immediate shift away from present practice?
Yeah. So first of all, we've got to understand that the school culture that we've created is feminine friendly. I don't want nobody to take that out of context.
Yeah, break that down.
Yeah, it's just we've created a feminine friendly learning environment. We didn't do it consciously. We didn't intentionally say we don't care about young boys learning. But what we did is we created a very feminine friendly learning environment. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is what we know about brain science that we didn't know before is that we understand that we've proven now intrinsically we knew that there was a difference between the male brain and the female brain, but now we know medically speaking, we cannot no longer argue with the science that men and women process information differently. Those of you all who are married out there, you know that your husband wants the lights on, where you probably prefer to be a little dimmer. The male brain needs more light. Now, what is that different in the learning environment? Our schools aren't well lit. The way we learn, the way we process information, the male brain needs, and when I work with teachers, I'm teaching my system called MAC, M-A-C, movement, activity, competition. The male brain needs movement. Authorized movement that will not get him in trouble, because if the male brain doesn't get movement, he will force movement. That's when he messes with his friends. That's when he messes with the little girl. He will force movement in the classroom. You've got to have some movement in the classrooms. We've got to have some movement in the building. Boys have got to have movement. If they don't get some movement, they will insert movement. And if a boy inserts movement, now he's written up. Now he's a problem in the classroom. Therefore, there we got the school to prison pipeline. So we get some movement in there. We add some activities. I keep Nerf products with me whenever I'm training, whenever I'm teaching, because one of the things I do in the classroom, one of my things I do when I'm training, and those of you leaders out there, get some Nerf toys for your students, particularly in K-8. Get some Nerf toys and allow them. It's got to be with them in the training, though. Allow them to throw some things in the classroom. And I don't mean just indiscriminately throwing things, but you tie it into the lesson. You weave it into the lesson. That's the activity. Movement, activity. Now, do girls so much need that? not as much as the male brain. And then insert some competition, some friendly competition, some academic-based, team-based competition. Those little small tweaks in the classroom. You want to talk about your behavioral referrals going down? The MAC system alone, movement, activity, competition. You take that to your school tomorrow, leaders, you'll drive behavioral referrals down this week by 10%. This week, keep instituting MAC in your building. Behavioral referrals will go down another 10% the next week. You want to talk about engaging young men into the lesson? Tie a question around a Nerf basketball, a Nerf football, and you toss it into it. If you catch the ball, you answer the question. And then when the young man answers the question, he tosses it to somebody else to answer the next question. They toss it to somebody else to answer the next question. Movement, activity, competition. It's a game changer. Your behavioral referrals will go down tomorrow. That alone, that alone will change your culture tomorrow.
You see, folks out there, that's why we have this academy. We're in 91 weeks now. You hear every guest comes on here and drops bombs, and that's what Coach Carlos is doing. That MAC, he said he challenged you. Try it on Monday morning. Just try it. Don't listen and get pumped, get fired up, and then Monday you go back to status quo, right? You go back Monday, like take Coach Carlos' fire with you.
Yeah.
And then when you go through your mental process that I talked about before in terms of assessing your week prior to, you write it in your plan, your leadership plan, and then you start on Monday. But I got to say this too before I go to the next one, because I do these virtual presentations not just on Saturday but all week long if I'm not on the road. And we were talking off camera before I came on, and people notice because people tell me, they say, "Man, you move a lot in your seat." My mother tells me. You move a lot. Like I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm rocking, man.
Yeah.
I can't sit like this.
Come on.
I'm in my own house. I have permission to do so. So imagine Jalil sitting in the classroom who's much younger than I am. I'm 61, and Jalil has to sit like this.
Yeah.
Without talking at that.
Yeah. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
I can't do that for 5 seconds.
So ain't gonna happen.
To do it over the course of a 6 to 8 hour day, man. I'm sitting in this thing, and I'm just I'm going like this the whole time, man. I'm doing this, and you and I talked about. I guess I gotta share this with the audience. Robin Jackson out there has it set up so that she got this big camera. She got the whole screen. She's working it in virtual as if she was somewhere on location. Yeah, you and I both said that's what we need. Because I can't sit here with this little webcam. Clients be like, "Could you do a 5-hour presentation virtual?" Oh, heck no. I can't do no 5 hours sitting in this chair. I'll give you my best 2.
That's right.
But not 5. I don't have it like that, man. So the research is real. Yeah, and we got to get behind it. Get behind it. My man Stallings right here, same thing. I can't even watch football game in my seat, but I gotta add something. But he's a Dallas fan. Right? Who could watch them in your seat? You're gonna be frustrated, right? You're gonna be like throwing stuff on your wall. Right. So let me keep going. Yes, sir. Let's look at school culture. Yeah. Right. And I want to quote from you again. You say that a highly engaged school culture is the mother of high performance. Yes. Right. Again, and I'm gonna say it again for the people that checked in late. You say that a highly engaged school is the mother of high performance. Yeah. There's a ton of APs and school leaders who are out here who are struggling with both. Yeah. School culture and high performance of their students, or the academic performance of their students. Yeah. So you're saying that there's a correlation between the two.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, give us some insights on how we can shift the culture to a culture that's conducive to high academic performance.
All right, man. Great question. Great question. All right. So to my leaders here today, two things I want you to consider. Don't just take my word for it. Check this out. First of all, everybody's heard of Archimedes. He says, "Give me a lever and a fulcrum from which I can place it, and I will move the world. Give me a lever and a fulcrum from which I can place it, and I'll remove the world." He didn't say, "Give me an army." He didn't say, "Give me a truck." He understood as a mathematician that you can place things in very precise strategic places, and it'll give you leverage to move something larger than you otherwise possibly could. So the way I teach and the way that I train is I think simple so I can do large things. I'm a big fan of this book right here called The One Thing. I would encourage you leaders to pick this book up. It was written by Gary Keller. And what he talks about in The One Thing is, and he's the largest real estate owner in the country. So I think the brother knows a little bit something about running organizations so they can be efficient. In his book, he talks about the one thing. I've learned that the one thing that changes everything in your school culture. Hear me on this, leaders. Do the research, but trust me in this moment. The one thing that changes everything or affects everything in your school culture is human engagement. And until we replace all humans with robots, until students are no longer coming to the building and you have no more teachers in the building and people are just at home looking and learning through screens, we are going to have to utilize human engagement. It is the one thing that builds or destroys your school culture. You got to be able to harness human engagement between all your stakeholders. Do you have toxic or healthy engagement between parents and the school? Do you have toxic or healthy engagement between teachers and students? Do you have toxic or healthy engagement between administration and teachers? Just ask those three questions. Is my relationship between parents healthy or toxic? Is my relationship with students healthy or toxic? If you answer those questions honestly, that'll change everything. And I dare you, I double dare you. I got money on it, principal. Find me the high-performing school. I've done it. I've done the research for 2 decades. It ain't out there. That's why I'm comfortable with it. I put money on it right now. Find me the high-performing school that has unhealthy engagements between their stakeholders. Don't exist. Not high-performing.
Yeah, doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
So the correlation between a healthy school culture and human engagement. And I talk about it. I would think every day of my life about people skills. Because if you and I are going to be able to forge those relationships and have those healthy human relations within a school, but we lack the people skill or the skill set of engaging with people, then it becomes almost an impossibility. So I say it all the time, folks. How we interact with one is not necessarily transferable to how we interact with another.
Yeah.
And we got to have the people skills in order to do everything Coach Carlos said in terms of human engagement relative to school culture.
Yeah.
We got to know how to talk to people. And so in other words, we got to know how to swallow our pride at times if it's for the good of the culture of the school, if it's for the good of the school itself.
Yeah.
We can't forge those relationships.
Yeah.
If we don't know how to interact.
That's it.
With various different people. I mean, it's funny, and I'm gonna jump back. I'm gonna turn it back to you in a second. It's funny, like as I said that, I'm thinking about who I am with the various guests that come on this show. Yeah. I'm not the same guy with every guest. It's certain guests that I feel compelled to fall back.
Yeah.
Right. Like with your approach, I can be high energy.
Yep.
But another guest, let me bring it down a little bit, right? Because if I bring them flames to that person that doesn't have that personality, then as an interview, we're not going to click the way I want to click.
That's right.
But see, but the kind of energy you're bringing allows me to stay up there with you.
Yeah.
But I can't be the same dude
with
everybody that comes on here.
That's right.
And so that's what I'm talking about with the people skills, being able to adapt. To who we work with. Were you trying to add on to that?
No, Doc. I am that kid who can't sit still. I am the original ADD presenter. I can't keep still. Yeah. So when you're talking, I'm vibing off of what you're saying. So I'm moving. But the only thing I will share with leadership here, in addition to that research about human engagement, I'm not talking about feel good. I'm talking about with the express purpose of producing an outcome. Those healthy relationships that are geared towards producing an outcome, a high level outcome. So I don't understand how we can't burn out instructional teams if parents aren't involved, if we're not engaged with our families. I don't understand how teachers do it today. They're carrying the burdens for everybody. Yeah. But a school leader who says, I'm bringing everybody to the team. My families are going to be engaged. My teachers are going to be engaged. My community is going to be engaged. And I'm going to be engaged. That environment right there, you can now insulate yourself as best as you can for some of the issues that come into the classroom, because you can't control if mom's husband left her, if the children didn't eat last night. You can't control all that. But once they come in your building, you control what you can control. And if you build a culture and climate of engagement, sincere, healthy engagement, where teachers truly care about the kids, not to the point that they're responsible for ensuring that their mother gets back with their husband. Yeah. Not that they're concerned about mama working. No, I've got this child from 7:30 to 3. And I'll give you this question. I give everybody this question, and I put this on my tips. I create a tip every Sunday morning. You all check my tips out on Sunday mornings. Quick tips for you. But this tip right here, ask yourself every day. In Principal Kafele, you said this when you said, will you assess? I think the way you said it was, will you assess last week? Yeah. Right? So here's the question I would ask you all in the spirit of what Principal Kafele just said. Ask yourself this simple question. What's the one thing as a school leader that I can do? The one thing. I didn't say 4. I didn't say 5. I didn't say 10. What's the one thing I can do as a school leader such that by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary? Mm. What's the one thing I can do as a school leader, as an AP, that I can do such that by doing that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Now, is that one thing making sure I get that report out today? Is that one thing making sure that I meet with the principal today? Is that one thing making sure that I go over all my discipline referrals today? What's the one thing? and I submit to everybody who might listen, the one thing that you can do every single day, that such by doing so, it will make everything else easier or unnecessary, is build healthy relationships with your stakeholders.
That one thing, y'all. One thing, right? Hey, folks, I got 3 more questions. Hit that share button. Hit that retweet button. Call them up, whatever it is. Let them know we live, man. We live. We ain't thinking about time. It's 11:57. We'll probably take it to about 12:30. So just hit the share button, hit the retweet button. Let them know we're here live, man. We got a lot to talk about. You know, Coach, I want to give this quick commentary to this question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
When you think about the role of the teacher wears a zillion different hats, countless hats.
Yeah.
And most of those hats that a teacher would wear are vehicles to the main thing. And the main thing is student learning as measured by student achievement. And I'm not putting achievement in a standardized assessment mode. I'm just saying however we assess learning, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to give the wrong impression. But all of, we talk about, for example, equity. We talk about SEL. We talk about trauma informed. We talk about cultural responsiveness, and we can go on and on.
Yeah.
Those are all vehicles,
right,
to get to the same place. None of those is an end game. Like we've arrived where equity,
right,
we've arrived where SEL, we've arrived
right.
to respond. Those are vehicles to get there where student is learning at a high level.
That's right.
Okay? So when I think about that, I think about it also in the context of school leadership.
Yeah.
There's a multiplicity of hats that a leader wears. There's a multiplicity of programs and models and strategies and so forth that we will implement through teachers. But the bottom line, those are vehicles as well.
Yes, sir.
And I say about the school leader, and I want the leader to hear me, and then I'm gonna pose the question to you. At the core of our work, in addition to just school safety, student staff safety in the building, which is a given, at the core of the work is, in my strongest opinion, instructional leadership, right? I can't think of anything that a leader does that would be more significant than leading the school instructionally. But there's so many of us in this profession, in the classroom, teachers, who may look at that relationship as being an imposition, as being a problem that I don't want to be have the principal intruding or the assistant principal intruding on my space. I don't like that. But if the premise is correct, that instructional leadership is that critical, it's really not. It's non-avoidable. So my question to you then is, in situations such as this, where there is a hesitancy from teachers of having those collegial relationships, that clinical relationship with the leadership, with their supervisor or evaluator of record, how can a leader begin the process of creating a school-wide culture of instructional leadership, where instructional leadership is welcomed by all?
Wow. Doc, that's the question. That is the question. Whew. All right. Let me take a stab at that. Everybody, I think, here knows or has experience going to KFC or any chicken place where you go through the line and you pull up through the drive-through and you ordered your food and you get to the window and they say, "I'm sorry, we're all out of chicken." And you sit back and you say, "Hold on, that's what you do. You sell chicken. Chicken is what brought me here. Chicken is why I stood in this line. I came here to get chicken, and your sign says chicken. How you gonna be out of chicken?" That's what schools are to me. We sell chicken. We gotta do chicken. Learning is what we do. I mean, do we give out free lunch? Yes. Do we give out free bus rides? Yes. I'm working with districts who even wash children's clothes. Yes. Do we have social workers? Yes. We do all of that. But chicken is what we do. Learning is what we do. So as a school leader, as a building leader, at every level of the process, it has to be measured. Are the children learning? I mean, that's what all of this is for.
Yeah.
It's just, are the children learning? So from the hiring process, it starts with the hiring process. And unfortunately, all of the new data that's coming out is telling us that African American teachers, we need them so badly, but they're leaving in droves. But it starts with the hiring process, helping everybody know from day one. We may evaluate you and expect you to do a whole lot of other things, but as your building leader, my greatest concern is my one thing, and that's learning. That's learning. That's it, because that's what we do. And I would encourage you all to stand up in front of your team and say, look, give them that story. Has anybody here today ever went to Kentucky Fried Chicken or whenever and they were out of chicken? And everybody say, yeah, that's happened to me. Well, how did you feel? That's what they do. Well, what do we do here? I mean, so when I come into your classroom, when I ask you about your lesson plans, when we're meeting with parents and grades haven't been uploaded in the SIS system, so parents can't go online and see where their children are academically, that's all I'm trying to do is ensure that students are learning. This ain't personal. Everybody's evaluated the exact same way. Are kids learning? And if they aren't, why not? If they are we challenging them? Real simple.
Love it. Are the students learning? And that's why that instructional leadership piece is so, so important. You know, Coach, regarding parents, you have an online parent training program called powerengage.net. Write that down, y'all. Parent.
Well, if I can interrupt you here, Principal. Since that information, man, we've been tremendously blessed. So we've had to change something. We are training every year about 1,000 parents on minimum. So we've had to update our website. So to your point, the website is imageofsuccess.com. And that takes it. Yeah.
Imageofsuccess.com. Y'all get that down. Image of, one word, imageofsuccess.com.
Yeah.
That trains hundreds of parents, maybe thousands of parents, and thousands of parents and instructional teams each year on what I want y'all to hear this: the psychology and practice of teacher-student engagement. Let me say that again.
Yeah.
The psychology and practice of teacher-student engagement. When I read that, it sounded very intriguing. So I wanted to ask you to tell the audience, what do you mean by psychology and practice of teacher-student engagement, and why is this relevant for parents?
Yeah. So the one thing that became very apparent for me when I took over the Male Leadership Academy is that my instructional team, as great as they were, they just couldn't do it. There was no way for them to get the gains that we needed without parents being engaged, not just involved, because involved, what we know from the definition of that with the No Child Left Behind legislation, they made it real clear to us. Involvement is different from engagement. Involvement is what we ask parents to do. Engagement is what they do with us. So I realized that my instructional team just could not move learning further without parents being a part of the process, being partners with the process. APs, leaders, if you're here today, no, you can't. Just know that you can't get to where you're going from a level of learning and sustain it, let alone duplicate it. Because it's just not about achieving that level of learning. It's about sustaining it and then potentially duplicating it. Know that you can't get there on the backs of your instructional team. They may be able to get you there 2-3 years of hard work, but you will run your horses into the ground if you don't get your parents as a part of that solution. And you don't need all of them. All you need to do is do what Malcolm Gladwell talks about in his book, Tipping Point. All you need is a core group of parents, enough parents that will transform your school culture. And that's what our system teaches districts all over this country, is how to identify, train, and celebrate a core group of parents who will assist you in tipping your culture into one that's more engaging and less being involved.
Tipping the culture. It's more engaging. And that word engaging is key. In fact, I tie it right into my last question here before we go to our rapid fire BAM questions. There is a difference, as you stated, between involvement and engagement. Yeah. And a lot of times I use involvement when I just want parents to come to the school, not to so much come to the school for the parent conference with the staff, but to come to the school to be with me. Yeah. Right. Like I made like one of the things that I prided myself on was the state of the school message with the entire student body. Right. Yeah. So we come together and I want you to know month by month, look, this is where we are. Yeah. Right. But I also want to do a state of the school message with, when I said student body, student staff, but I also want to do a state of the school message with the parents. Yeah. It's easier now. One of the silver linings in the pandemic is the virtual platforms. And now all those parents that we may have been unsuccessful in bringing to the school for something of that nature, we can create a culture, as you just discussed, by having parents on these screens. And we create a culture that once a week, but every week, I'm gonna give you an update on what's happening in my classroom. This is the teacher or the principal every month or every other week, an update on what's happening with the school, and create a culture where now there's an expectation that this is just what we do. We tune in live and listen to the leader of my child's school, right? So my thought here for you, the difference between the two, I contend for years that parental involvement is minimal. Yep. If we've got nothing that excites a parent and something tangible that the parent can take away. Like if I bring you in and I came here for this, right? I mean, this was a waste of my time. But if I can give you something that captures your attention, so captures the attention of the parent, something tangible that I may want to come back, then there's a higher probability that they will. So with that said, from your vantage point, how do we involve, using that analogy, how do we involve parents in our schools, inclusive of, say, a state of the school message and other meetings where there's something important to share that they would continue to come back?
Doc, you hitting it right on the head. So real good tool for everybody here. You leaders who were here, you aspiring leaders. Here's what I would encourage you to do. Create for your school what I call a mandatory minimum. Now, I use the term mandatory. We can't legally say mandatory with parents. However, what I'm saying is come up with your based on the demographics of your school. Come up with your mandatory minimums. The mandatory minimums at one school might be different from the mandatory minimums at another. Those mandatory minimums for families to be partners in your district, what are they? Now, my online system has what we call 7 power moves for parents, and they're all based on mandatory minimums, research-based minimums. Why do I call them minimums? Because regardless of your socioeconomic status, these are 7 things that parents can and should be doing. You've got to create that for your school, because you've got to let parents know that if you partner with us, we will provide achievement for your child. To your point, this is what we did. We came up with mandatory minimums, and this one trick alone helped me increase my enrollment in 2 years 100%. In 2 years. We came up with mandatory minimums, and we also came up with a parent promise. Our promise was very basic. I said to the Kafele family when you came to our orientation that Mr. and Mrs. Kafele, our promise to you is that if you give me your child every day ready to learn, our promise to you is he will get 1 year's growth. Minimum. Now, if you want a year and a half, if you want 2 years growth, then now we need you to partner with us so we can get them some accelerated learning. But as long as your child is in my building and in my classroom every day, on time and ready to learn, our parent promise was he'll get 1 year's growth. What parent doesn't want that? You mean you telling me, Principal Carlos, that all I need to do is get little Johnny here every day on time and ready to learn? That's all I got to do? And you going to give him 1 year's growth? That's all I want you to do. That's all you got to do, because my team is ready to handle it from there. Now, does that work 100% of the time? No, it doesn't. But you create an atmosphere like that, a relationship like that with parents, now you're transforming culture. Now you got partnership. Now you got engagement. And you got people held accountable to, well, my son didn't do very well. Okay, so let's look over the records. We're looking at our absentee report, Mr. Kafele. Little Kafele missed the whole week of school. And in a high-performing, high-paced environment like ours, you miss 1 week of school. That's going to be tough. We got to catch up. Remember what we talked about when you first enrolled him? If you get him to me every day, on time, ready to learn, we got it. That kind of relationship affords teachers, APs, leaders to be able to have real talk, or what I call crucial and brutal conversations. Let me see if I can grab this right quick. I can't put my hands on it real quick, but yes, I do. I would encourage you all to get a book called Crucial Conversations. How to Talk When Things Break Down. Teachers, you all have got to get Crucial Conversations. I do a training on it. Well, not teachers, but leaders, you guys got to get it. I do a training on it called Breakthrough Conversations. But you don't have to get my training. Get the book called Crucial Conversations. You've got to be able to have breakthrough conversations with parents. I'm sorry, brother. You asked me.
Oh, no, you're good. Because it's interesting for me listening to you. One time, some of the people that have been rocking with me for a while, they've heard me say this about 2 or 3 times. One week, I had a guest on. I had Todd Whitaker on. And Todd, there it is, Crucial Conversation.
Yeah, boy. Tools for talking when stakes are hot. You got to get it.
Got to get it. So I had Todd Whitaker on, and he has a style where he's talking, but he'll ask me questions.
Yeah.
I'm monitoring the chat.
Yeah.
So you see when I put all those comments up, so I don't hear every detail. I hear everything, but I don't hear every detail. So Todd kept asking me questions, and I had to fake the funk. So one of the viewers picked up on it.
Yeah.
Wrote me and said, she wrote on YouTube, this was a great interview, but it would have been better if Principal Kafele was paying attention. I'm like, hold up. I'm the engineer. I'm the producer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do like all this stuff they do.
Yeah, I got you.
By myself, right?
Yes, sir.
So hopefully she understood that. So I'm saying that to say this.
Yeah.
I've been reading these comments. It just based on what you just said about how long the answer was. That was fine because I'm looking at these comments out here, man.
Yeah.
And it's people loving this. I'm not even going to the BAM questions yet. I need you to tell them how to get in touch with you. We'll do the BAM questions right after. Let them know how to book you, reach you, everything.
Yeah. The easiest way, you can go to carlosjohnson.org. Just go to carlosjohnson.org. That'll lead you to everything else that I'm attached to. My Facebook page, you can book me there. You can submit questions there, carlosjohnson.org, or go right to the website, imageofsuccess.com. I think I put that in the chat for you. But yeah, so either one of those, carlosjohnson.org. Or come there. But I love what I do, and if I can help anywhere.
Now, how can they connect with you on social media?
Just on my YouTube channel is the Coach Carlos. You can go right there. If you go to Facebook, man, I don't even know how to say that. I just go on and search for Carlos Johnson or Coach Carlos, and you'll find me. But the easiest way is all the links are on my websites. You can hit all those links right there.
Yeah.
And then follow me. I do something every week. I just put up quick tips, 5-10 minutes tips for your instructional teams. Let them go on there. They'll get every Sunday. They will get a tip that they can implement on Monday. I am the king of simplicity. I love simplicity because teachers are burned out. So I give them quick tips on Sunday that they can implement on Monday. And it don't cost them nothing. They don't have to get budget approval for these tips. This is something that all they need is the will to implement the skill. My mentor, Anthony Muhammad, that's his deal, the will and skill.
Yeah.
So all they need is the will to implement the skill.
Too. Now, how do they view the tips again?
Just go to my YouTube channel and make sure you sign up there, but also
give me the name of that channel again.
It's the Coach Carlos. Yeah, the Coach Carlos, the trainer. Or just go, as I said before, go to my website, carlosjohnson.org, and all the links are right there.
And here, Michelle Perkins Griffin put it all up there for us.
Oh, Michelle.
That's the kind of folks that watch. You know, man, you'd be surprised the resources that are on this thread right now.
Yeah. That's all.
Demetrius Scott keeps the notes for the entire interview. And Kim Wilson Daniel, who's been on the whole time, she used to do it, but then she became an administrator, and it got to be a little overwhelming.
Yeah,
first year administrator. But yeah, we got some very resourceful people on here, so appreciate that. Hey, folks, before you cut out of here, let's go through these BAM questions.
Yeah,
got 21. You hear how I say that? Let's do these BAM questions. Do these BAM questions, man.
Yes, sir.
These are one word. Now the past, I think 2 weeks, my guests been struggling with these because they've been giving me some paragraphs, right? Give me one word, one sentence max.
All right.
Right? Here we go. Is education on the right path for underserved children?
No.
Can true equity occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students?
No.
Does your work, Carlos Johnson, contribute to the progress we desperately need?
Yes.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
The same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
Calling.
What fires you up within the work that you do?
Ooh, one word.
4 sentences.
Seeing the fruit of my work.
What do you love about the work you do?
Oh, the engagement.
What do you dislike about the work you do?
Systemic resistance.
What has been your greatest victory to date in this work?
Oh, sure. It's been transforming 3 schools, totally turning around 3 schools.
What was your greatest mistake in this work?
Oh, wow.
Some people tell me come back. So if you want,
come back to that one.
Yeah. What has been your greatest challenge in this work?
Systemic racism. Yeah.
Are you proud of your first year as an assistant principal?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Are you proud of your first year as a principal?
Yes.
Who inspires you in this work? I kind of know this one.
Yeah, I mean, no hesitation. Anthony Muhammad,
Yeah,
Principal Kafele,
appreciate it.
LaRue Fitch, Sean Hurt. I mean, my whole Bird team, my whole Bird family, and that is Scripture tells us, Father. I mean, Scripture tells us that there is safety in the multitude of counselors. So, man, that's right. You said short answer. Don't let me get started.
What are you reading right now?
What I am reading right now actually is my book. Today, I got the call that my book is being published by the largest educational publisher in the United States. Today, before this meeting, I got the call today. So that book right there, the reason why I say I'm reading is I just got the manuscript back in and I'm rereading it.
Are you at liberty to say who the publisher is?
I am. Now I am. I couldn't before, but Solution Tree I just signed the contract this morning.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you all hear that Coach Carlos just signed the contract this morning with Solution Tree to publish his manuscript. It will be coming out soon. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Someone asked for the book title. You want to give it yet or no?
Sure. It is called Power Engage.
Power Engage.
20 years of research showing schools how to engage.
There you go. Congratulations. Give them a thumbs up. Give them a congrats. Give them some fire in that chat, y'all. Let me keep going. I'm almost done. What book would you recommend for our viewers this afternoon?
Oh man, depending on the category, but you got to get the 50 principles from Principal Kafele. You got to get that. You got to get Transforming School Culture by Anthony Muhammad. You've got to pick up the one thing, an easy read, but you guys are stressed out. You gotta smooth this thing down to the one thing. You got to do it.
There you go. What do you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
My Male Academy. Get ready, because I'm getting ready to launch something in 2023, Lord willing, that is going to shake up education for young men. Get ready.
Are you satisfied with where you are professionally right now?
No.
What could you say to a viewer out there who continues to face closed doors?
That one word.
Grit. Pick it up, somebody. What could you say to a viewer out there who's lost their fire?
Oh, ho, ho, ho. If you lost your fire, you may not have been walking in your calling. There's in 1994, I'll never forget this book I read called Work. It talked about your job is more about your calling than compensation. If you lost your fire, you may have been going after compensation. You got to walk in your calling.
Got to walk in that calling. And the last question is the big one. If Coach Carlos Johnson was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Oh, right by my name would be a reference to go read the parable of the talents in Matthew. It would send you right to the parable of the talents in Matthew. And I'm looking for that day where it will be said, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you a ruler over many.
Wow. Powerful stuff. You went through that 21 real good too, man.
Yeah, thank you.
The past couple of weeks. I know folks got, there's things on their minds. So I'm not mad at them at all. Good stuff. Hey, Coach, I appreciate you being here. I know that that our family of viewers here appreciate you being here as well, and it certainly won't be the last time. But thanks for being here. This was powerful. It was tremendous. It was extraordinary. It was amazing.
Thank you, Doc.
I appreciate it. So let me close us out, but stay right there for me. Next week, folks, I got the Louisiana Secondary Schools Principal of the Year going to join us. His name is Ronnie Harvey.
Wow.
From Lake Charles, Louisiana. right there from where Marcus Jackson is from. So he will be my guest next Saturday morning. Ronnie Harvey, Principal Ronnie Harvey, be here, please. Be here. School talk. Zaretta Hammond I was able to interact with her while we were on. So we're gonna push that to February 3rd. So Zaretta Hammond was my guest this week, January 27, but it hit me that that's the same date as the finale of Women of the Movement with Mamie Till Mobley, and I don't want to be on while that's on. So we're gonna go to February 3rd, and then I got to call my February 3rd guest and say we got to push it to a different date. So I'll take care of that. So February 3rd. No, that's old news. There's a conference that I'm speaking at. Myself, Dr. Pedro Noguero, and Dr. Chris Emden. It's virtual. It's sponsored by my guy Robert Jackson, and you can go to vibe-pd.com. Again, Vibe, VIBE-PD.com to register. That's going to be this coming Friday, right? This Friday, I'll be on at 8 o'clock. Pedro will follow me, and then Chris Emden will close it out. So again, Vibe, VIBE-PD.com, right? That's the only thing that I got public going on this week, I think. If not, I'll post it. Make sure you check out my man Sean Hurt, and condolences to Sean Hurt. He just lost his father last week. So shout out to him, and condolences to him and his family. That's Principal Sean Hurt, that many of you know and watch on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock on Facebook Live. He's followed by Dr. Sheikah Houston and Principal Tammy Taylor at 10:30 on Saturdays. Then myself at 10:55, and then Unlock the Middle with my guy, my man, Principal Josh Tovar, and the crew that he's with on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. And then Village Leadership Group with Dr. Roz Gaskins and Coach Williams, Tuesday and Thursday at 6. Make sure you get your hands on both of them.
Yes, sir.
Equity and Social Justice Education 50 and the Assistant Principal 50. And we got the other ones. I'll put those up at another time. Visit principalkafele.com. Subscribe to the Virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel, but also subscribe to the Principal Kafele Speaks to Educators YouTube channel, because that's the channel for the school talk, in addition to Facebook Live at Principal Kafele and Twitter Live at Principal Kafele. So please subscribe to both Principal Kafele Speaks to Educators YouTube and Virtual AP Leadership Academy for those of you who are not already subscribers. And then check out the commentary tomorrow morning. I'll have it up tomorrow, no later than 10 o'clock on my Virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page. Make sure you're eating right. I can't say that I am all the time when I'm on the road. I try my best, but I got a little COVID pounds on me. But make sure you're eating right. Make sure you're taking precautions with your health. Get all them routine checkups and, do all that stuff. Wear the mask. I was in a room yesterday, man. I don't know. I was by myself for a while wearing that mask, but there were some others there. But it depends on where you are. But folks, other than that, I just got to say to Coach Carlos, he hit it. He hit it out the park. Grand slam. Right, Josh Gibson, right? Josh Gibson,
yes, sir.
Homestead Grays, Negro League, 800 plus home runs. And as I always show folks, man, I'm so proud of this back, man. Got it from Jefferson County Schools. Jennifer Jones handed it to me. Got my name on it.
Wow.
Louisville.
Yes, sir.
So with that said, folks, we appreciate you being here. See you next week at 10:55 Eastern time. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Hang with me for a minute, Carlos, after I sign off. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up, then cock your fist back all the way. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! We'll see you next Saturday morning.
Oh, man.